SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Diode and their associate sponsors. As Blaze Baker brings his green and camouflaged Suzuki from Uncle Andy's racing stable onto the third spot. Just ahead of him is the Pocket Rocket. And Pooch, as we know, is incredible off the line. And if he's on the front row, he's going to be a difficult man to beat down into turn one. So middle of the grid is certainly the man you want to be watching out for in terms of his starting ability.
Yeah, I still have my 7 rand, so I'm going to put my 7 rand on Stephen Windal whole shot.
Jeez, I think you could be 21 rand by the time we get to turn one. Here we go. 5-second board. Lights are on and we go. Thank you very much.
Boshoff.
Oh, Boshoff has got a better start and he's going into turn one. Can he outgun him? No, he can't. Pooch gets the whole shot. 21 rand in Robert Portman's pocket.
Thank you very much, but he runs a little bit wide. Boshoff on the outside, and he's going to go out sideways. Action from Boshoff. He cuts across the nose of Stephen Windal, but runs wide. So Windal is going to hold on to that position. No,
you think?
Boshoff fights back.
Well, Boshoff came around the outside, got it absolutely squared up into turn number 2. Yes, he couldn't run the same line all the way around. He would have to come in at some stage to catch on. And as they come through there, awesome stuff there from Boshoff as he starts off into turn 4. And nearly takes out Windal. Can you believe it? As he heads up into the top of the hill, Windal had his heart and some other parts of his anatomy in his mouth because that was a serious maneuver coming out of Adolf Boshoff. The cowboy is on it. He's already shown the kind of pace he gets around here, and man alive, are they going.
It's a good start from Blaze Baker on the Suzuki. He's right in the toe of the 2 Yamahas. So that's exactly what he wants to do. He's going to sit there. He's going to hope it's Stephen Windal. Oh, yeah, Blaze Baker down. He high sides out of the left hand and a big crash for Blaze Baker. Unfortunately, putting it down.
And the bike hasn't stopped sliding in. Rob, sorry to jump in on you, but that bike was absolutely cartwheeling down there. Double yellow flags. It's pulled onto the left-hand side, and the rider is down. So unfortunately, it looks like he walked away. A little bit winded, I would say, but he is going to be able to probably maneuver out the way. Keep an eye out for any red flag situation that could possibly happen. I don't think it's going to happen just yet because the bike is off the track. The rider is moving, so they might not have to red flag this one. They can keep it going, and that's exactly what's happening down that back straightaway. Oh, red flag up. Saw the hand go up.
That's got to be the bike.
Yeah.
It's got to be the bike in a dangerous position. I just watched Blaze Baker. I was saying he was staying with the Yamahas. He flicked it in left. And remember, that's the first time that you go into a left-hander. So cold tire.
Yeah,
Blaze just asked a bit too much gas. And it flung him. And he actually held on. But it was a bucking Bronco. And it just flung him off.
Yeah, but look at it afterwards.
Oh, man.
When it eventually ended up back on the track and Blaze was away from it, it continued to cartwheel down the back that little straightaway. So the biggest concern was the fact that other riders could possibly hit that bike. Fortunately, no one did. And there you can see Blaze walking away. I think he would have been pretty much big time winded, but of course our ER24 team are on site immediately to make sure he's okay. He's actually going to climb back on the bike and see if he can get it back to pit lane. I don't know if a T-bike is available in Uncle Andy's Racing. I don't think they've got a spare bike there. So that could possibly spoil the day here for the Suzuki team completely as they get into not even first lap of race 1.
That'll be a complete restart, I'm pretty sure, because they were literally 1 lap, not even a lap in to the race yet. So the riders come back to the start-finish line to line up once again. Unfortunately, Blaze Baker is not going to get to restart this race if I know the rules like that. So we're going to have to wait and see there. But a big moment, and well done to the other riders for avoiding that. And just Paddy Fensky would have looked at that and said, well, I've got to red flag the race because he's got to check that there's no debris. Here's the replay. Just look at, sideways stuff. Look at now, he's hanging onto the side of the bike. And then he just falls over.
He tries to catch it there, Rob.
And then the bike actually gives him a big whack in the head. So good to see Blaze Baker up and walking. But this is what you said. Now watch the bike.
Unfortunately, the bike went over him there, because if it hadn't gone over him there, that would have been very bad. Nicole Van Arsvik saw it early on and moved to the inside line. Dylan Barnard doing the same thing and nearly gets clipped by it, in fact. Dylan Barnard probably the luckiest man out there not to get involved in that. But this is where it got out of hand. The bike just started to keep cartwheeling all the way down. Fortunately, it's on the straight, so the bikes are now all upright heading towards it. Alex van den Berg nearly getting taken out by it as well. And then just evasive action from Johnny Ray, Carl Schultz, and the rest of the field as they came down there. Darren Andrews also just missing out on that motorcycle. And then, of course, the rider stepping away and walking away, fortunately. Wow, that was an incredible incident out there. But as we've always said, Rob, this is a predominantly right-hand circuit. It is the first lap of anger that you're going in there. And it's the first time that you've actually put the bike onto the left-hand side at full tilt.
At speed,
because going through 1, yes, it is a left-hander, but it's a slightly less acute
speed,
angle of the corner. So when you go through there, incredible. How's that?
After being whacked by your bike,
you think you can walk your bike back in by yourself, but that's exactly what Blaze Baker is going to do. He's walking his machine back into pit lane. 1 warm-up lap just to get the heat back into the tires, because they have been standing for about probably about 30 seconds or so. and then we will start the race again. It'll probably be a full restart because we haven't completed one lap.
Yeah, and Blaze Baker, you could see what he was trying to do. He was trying desperately to hang with the two Yamahas. And first time in that left hander, just asked too much power of the Suzuki, and it just flung him off. But credit to him, he's pushing it down now into the pits. It just shows you what warriors and superheroes each one of the riders out here today are. They really are here to do a great effort and get their bike back. I just can't believe that from Blaze Baker. He was literally flung so high from that Suzuki, and he tried everything he could to hold on, but unfortunately just succumbing to his Suzuki bike and got a big whack in the head from it. But he is up and okay, as I see one of the team members has gone down there now to help him with the bike and just checking that Blaze is okay. And it looks like he is. So great to see that, and hope to see him out in race number 2, because we know he's got the pace to finish on the podium and to hopefully run with the two Yamahas out front.
Well, unfortunately, not going to do it on this one. The podium could be taken by one of the Triumph riders, Nicole van Arsveen.
Yeah.
It looked like she was fired up and was right behind him when he went down. So she was sitting in 4th place. So van Arsveen in with a shot of becoming the 2nd national championship lady rider to get onto a podium. She's had one already in her national championship career, so she'll be looking for her 2nd one. And of course, that would then beat the record, of course, of 1-for-1 between her and Janine Mitchell. So we'll have to wait and see if she's able to do that. But now that the Suzuki's out the way, keep an eye out on Dylan Barnard and, of course, Byron Vester, looking for chances of getting onto their very first podiums.
And then you got the likes of Jesse Boshoff, who could also maybe just squeeze himself into that podium mix. And of course, Dion Nelson, he had a crash yesterday on his Triumph, so that's fixed that bike, and he's up there now. Starting on the 3rd row of the grid, and Kieran Sneyman, you can't count him out on the RSA Kawasaki. He's got a serious turn of pace. So the podium position, all the riders would have seen that and gone, right, we can go for this podium now. The two Yamahas are pretty much going to go out front and dice it out, as we've seen so far this year. But the likes, like you said, of Dylan Barnard, Byron Bester, Nicole van Arsveen, Jesse Boshoff, and Kieran Sneyman, definitely looking for that podium position. So we're going to have to wait and see if Steven Oudendal can get that same start as he got in the first start, and that was whole shotting. But Boshoff, so aggressive on the first lap, as we've seen from him so many times, and made the move going into turn 4. The lights are on, so the revs are up. Here we go, and it's another good, this time Adolf Boshoff getting a tremendous start, so outdoing the Pooch. So there we go into turn 1 and leading the race, and that's right where he wants to be.
Pooch actually didn't get a good start at all there. I think he might have just been shaken up ever so slightly by that restart. Wasn't quite ready, and in fact you saw him just flicking with the gears as they did the start there, so it wasn't quite where he wanted to be. I know that when he was still riding for Suzuki, he had a theory that starting in 2nd gear was actually a better option for him. So I don't know if he's doing the same thing on the Yamaha. I haven't actually had a chance to speak to him about that, but it certainly looked like he wasn't in 1st or 2nd. It could have possibly been in 3rd, and he had to click it down. Yeah. He had to click it down to get it going.
And looks like Nicole van Arsveen is up into 3rd position. So great start there from the lady rider, but the two Yamaha bikes are out front. Adolf Boshoff gets it all kinds of sideways at the top of the hill there. It really is a sight for sore eyes, but Steven Oudendal right on his tail. Boshoff, I know what he's going to do. He's going to try and stretch this lead. He had some serious pace the whole weekend. I watched him through yesterday. He's got some good race pace. Oudendal as well, just a couple of tenths off, but Oudendal, we know what he can do, especially when he's following.
He's going to probably just sit on Boshoff's tail now and just hang tight. 3rd place battle though, heating up there properly between Nicole van Arsveen and Dylan Barnard. And across the line there, it's Jesse Boshoff in 5th. So the two leaders heading down into Pirelli. Turn number 2, hard on the brakes, and Boshoff is starting to open up a little bit of a margin. It was half a second across the line. It's probably about a second now as they come out of turn 2. That's Pirelli corner today. And now as they head through the big sweep, it is an absolutely awesome Yamaha 1-2. There's the 3rd place battle. Nicole van Arsveen hanging on. Dylan Barnard around the outside.
He's got some serious pace there. He got on the gas nice and he goes round the outside on the brakes. So Nicole van Arsveen going a little bit too defensive. That opened the door up for Barnard to make the move. They've got Jesse Boshoff right on their tail, and Byron Bester getting to grips with that Triumph slowly but surely. So that's going to be a big dice all the way to the line for that final podium position.
The only one question you've got to ask is hopefully the team down at High Tech Elements have got that braking system sorted out. Byron was battling a little bit with the brakes yesterday, and if that's the case, it's going to be crucial because there's a lot of braking points on the circuit. So if he can get that all sorted out, he said about 5th or 6th lap it starts to give him some issues. We'll wait and see if that's actually the case.
I think the cooler conditions will help the braking as well.
Barnard in 3rd, cross the line. 2 leaders heading towards Pirelli one more time. Hard onto the braking markers into turn 2, and Pooch has now closed that gap. So he's now able to run. In fact, he got the hottest lap in the first one with a 1:02.7 as opposed to a 1:02.9 coming out of That's the first flying lap of this race.
Yeah, that just shows me that the track is heating up nicely. Track conditions are really good at the moment. If the guys can already put those kind of lap times in, a 2.7 out front from Steven Oendal, a 2.9, like you said, from Adolf Boshoff. Dylan Barnard a little bit off, running in the mid-4s. JC Boshoff in the 5.3. Nicole van Asweken also in the 5.3. So Dylan Barnard could pull off a podium here because he's about a second faster than the trio behind him. Look at this now. Yeah, that's Barnard. He's already stretched the lead. Nicole van Asweken trying to do everything she can to close that gap on Barnard because she wants that podium finish.
Well, I can tell you something. She's working extremely hard, and she's actually working harder on the braking than Dylan Barnard is. You can see her close in on the brakes, but Barnard just seems to have the squirt and get away ability on that little Kawasaki he's on. So the Suzuki that would normally be in the third place of the podium position battle is now replaced by Dylan Barnard on the race tech machine, and that's a Kawasaki ZX6.
And you got to do that here at Zwartkops. You can't really make time up on the brakes here at Zwartkops. So it's all about getting your braking done, letting go of the brakes, carrying the corner speed in the faster turns, and then at the top of the hill, it's all about squaring the bike up, getting on the gas as hard as you can, and accelerating through the turns down the hill onto the front straight. So we're going to have to wait and see. Nicole van Asweken maybe just needs to brake a little bit earlier and carry more speed, because at the moment she's using all her energy on the brakes and just not making the time up. You see Barnard runs that GP style. He brakes a little bit earlier, but he carries the speed and the momentum, especially all the way up the hill to turn 5.
You look just behind them as well coming into that. It's very, very close there. The two leaders as we picked them up coming out of Kenwood there, and the double right-hander flick it over onto the left-hand side where we had incidents earlier on. But I was also picking up on the fact that the battle between Jesse Boshoff in 5th and Byron Bester, very close between those two riders. In fact, only half a second between the two of them. And Bester was starting to show a little bit of a wheel there to Jesse Boshoff for the 5th place.
Sante Otto, the lady rider, a 107.6, her fastest time so far. So that's an incredible pace from the lady rider. But Van Asweken now, it looks like she's closing that gap on Barnard in certain areas of the track. And there's areas where Barnard extends that lead. So we're going to have to wait and see there. That's for the final podium position. But out front, Adolf Boshoff is still doing a great job. But Steven Oendal, we saw it at the beginning of the at Red Star, and we saw it at Pekisa. They just shadow each other. So we're going to have to wait and see. Right at the end, Steven Oendal is not too shy. He'll make the move if he needs to, because championship points vital. Because Oendal, remember, does miss around because of his Moto2 commitments overseas.
As you come into the right-hander here at the top of the hill, and that, of course, is the Diode right-hander, normally sponsored by Sassel, but today, clean circuit, giving an opportunity for all our big sponsors in the Diode SuperGP Championship trophy to get their day in the sun. Here onto the braking markers, where we saw Steven Oendal lose out through 4, 5, and 6. He makes up through 7, 8, and back into turn 1.
And Steven Oendal does look like he is battling a bit to stick with the pace of Boshoff. Boshoff does look a bit ragged out front, but he's setting some incredible lap times. They're both running in the high 1.2s. So Oendal, I don't know if he's just maintaining that gap or if he's got the pace to get right onto the back wheel of Boshoff. So we're going to have to wait and see there. But Boshoff really is a man on the mission, and he looks ragged, but that's how we know Adolf Boshoff rides. When you see Boshoff ride like that, you know he's fast, and he looks out of control, but he's actually very much in control.
Keeping it all right at the moment, and half a second gap between himself and Oendal on the last pass across the line. Remember, this is an 18-lapper, so it's a long way to go getting to the first third of this race being completed as they pass the checkered flag this time out. 6 of 18 done and dusted, and Boshoff seems to have it all under control right now. Although, as I say that, Oendal also looking pretty calm.
In third position, Dylan Barnard last time out of 5.2, Nicole van Asweken 4.8, Byron Bester 4.6. So the two Triumph riders definitely closing that gap down now on Dylan Barnard for third position. So this will be an incredible effort from the Triumph, especially from Byron Bester, climbing on their bike for the first time this weekend. But Nicole van Asweken, you can visibly see now, she's closed that gap on Dylan Barnard.
As they come across the line there, Barnard is under threat, and under threat big time from both those Triumphs. Because not only is Nicole van Asweken closing in on him, she's bringing Byron Bester along for the ride. And if Bester doesn't have any braking issues, he could possibly run and make this a 3-way battle for what is 4th place, and could even possibly be 3rd place if something goes wrong up the road between any of the riders that we haven't seen yet, but you never know.
Yeah, Jesse Boshoff, Kieran Steyman, Alex van der Berg, and Dion Nelson in a big battle there for the top 6 position, currently held by Jesse Boshoff. So good ride there from him. But Nicole van Asweken, this is where Dylan Barnard seems to extend the lead a bit, but then at the top of the hill through the tight right-handers is where the two Triumphs definitely close the gap. So this is going to quickly turn into a 3-way battle for that final podium position. And Dylan Barnard, I'm sure he'll be getting his pit board saying that gap is coming down and coming down fast.
Yeah, let's make it 0.4 with 9 laps to go as the leaders cross the line. We've got to change up in the front. Oendal hits the front for the first time, and that's just probably going to be Adolf Bossel saying, right, I've had enough at the front, you run for a little while. It's an 18-lap race, we've still got 10 to go.
Yeah, we've seen it before already this year at Red Star Raceway, where Boshoff let him past. Didn't pay off for him because Odendaal eventually would go out and win race number 2. And then at Pekisa we saw race number 1 going to Odendaal and race number 2 to Boshoff. So it really has been all about the 2 Yamaha riders. But Adolf Boshoff sitting here now, watch going into turn 4. He is so incredibly late on the brakes and he makes the move. He just manages to somehow get that bike turned in on the brakes and he makes it stick. Ran a little bit wide, but Odendaal didn't have enough tar to make the move back on the inside. But Adolf Boshoff on the brakes is he's going to be so incredibly hard to pass. Odendaal's really going to, I don't know, we didn't see where Odendaal made the move. Maybe it was a mistake by Boshoff. So we're going to have to wait and see where Odendaal is going to make that move.
No, it looks like he wasn't sitting back and letting Odendaal get away. He came straight back at him. And within half a lap, here we go, Odendaal pulls out. I think that's where it was made, down into turn 8 here, the final corner. And of course, NGL Logistics Solutions, our sponsor of that corner today. Across the line, these 2 Yamahas opening up a massive margin over the rest of the field. The Kawasaki, though, of Dylan Barnard still maintains 3rd place. So nothing in it between them. And right on his tail is Nicole van Arsveken now. Nicole van Arsveken, in fact, now in, you can just reel him in. As they cross the line, it's Barnard, who, of course, is crossing the line on a 104.7, 104.6 out of Nicole van Arsveken. So quickest rider of that pack.
And just behind them, that Boshoff, Van der Berg, Nelson battle has gone down. And we've lost Kewan's name, and he's made a mistake. He's dropped down into 10th position. He just comes across the line now. So he definitely made a big mistake because he was running in 7th position, but he's dropped now down to 10th as we go to the top of the hill. Stephen Odendaal lining up a move, but Adolf Boshoff late on the brake, so Odendaal can't do it there. Oh, it's incredible how they get those bikes stopped. At one point you think there's no ways they're going to make the turn. They just grip that brake deep into the turn, get the bike turned, square that power on. This is where Odendaal is so fast through the left-hander. You can see he pulls out onto the inside. So Boshoff, that's definitely the weak point of Boshoff, is through that left-hander where we saw Blaze Baker take a big tumble.
Well, that's possibly where we're going to see Odendaal go for it. But the other factor you need to bring into account is he selling a dummy there?
Yeah.
Is he just going to go there every single time so that Boshoff goes defensive and maybe catches him napping somewhere else? That's what we need to keep in mind. In fact, we're at the halfway stage now, 9 laps done, 9 to go. And in fact, as they cross the line, Dylan Barnard now under massive pressure. The second battle on the road certainly starting to heat up as we follow the leaders through into turn number 3 and onto that back straight one more time. Here comes Odendaal. This time he has a look on the inside. Just shows the wheel. It's just pressurizing the whole time.
It's amazing how close these 2 riders ride together. And you can see that's international experience from Odendaal. He can ride right on the tail of Boshoff and not be flustered. It must be hard seeing Boshoff go sideways everywhere and to keep your concentration. But just behind him, Odendaal is going just as sideways. And behind them, Barnard is coming under pressure from Nicole van Arsveken. But I saw Byron Besser last time out come across the line shaking his head. So I don't know if he is starting to battle with that braking problem.
Here's Odendaal on the inside. Oh, and has a much bigger look this time down into the final turn. I think we're going to see massive action in NGL Logistics Solutions corner as they come across the line. Oh, incredible stuff there between them. Second and third place also starting to heat up as Nicole van Arsveken closes in on Barnard. Heading down to the bottom of the hill here. And
Look
late
at
braking. Oh, how does she get the braking so good? Look, she probably weighs about half of what Byron Bester does. So that's probably one of the reasons that he's battling a little bit. Let's have a squiz. He seems to be okay as he crossed the line this time. No shake of the head this time out. And looking at the lap times, Byron Bester 104.7. In fact, he did his best as a 104.6, so he's very much consistent. Yeah.
And just a shout out to Alex van der Berg, all the way from Cape Town. I think it's only his first or maybe even second time out at Zwartkops, running in 6th position ahead of Dion Nelson and Jesse Boshoff. So great ride there from the Cape Town man. But on screen is the battle we're watching is for 3rd place. Nicole van Arsveken has closed that gap. She runs a slightly tighter line going into turn 4. And that's really where Dylan Barnard does pull a slight gap going to the top of the hill. But coming through the final section of the circuit, especially the left-hander down into the final turn, Nicole van Arsveken has got a serious turn of pace, and she's so confident on the front end of that triumph. As we watch at the top of the hill here, this is really where she reels in 3rd place man Dylan Barnard. This is a good battle on track now, as well as Zante Otto and Darren Andrews further behind but they're also running in the mid-1.7, so good lap times out there.
Yeah, 2 youngsters there, 2 younger riders of this pack, and really having a great little battle there. Zante Otto, of course, riding there with the Kawasaki and the Honda of Darren Andrews as they head down into turn number 4. Those 2 very evenly matched between the 2 of them, and good to see the young lady stepping it up. Leaders heading into turn 4 and up the hill. You can see Stephen Odendaal having an opportunity. Here we go. Oh, no, a little bit further back there. This is the Zante Otto and Andrews battle as they come onto the braking markers just behind them. The leaders are closing in on this battle, so it's going to be a matter of time before we see them. Here they come into shot. Into Diode. And Undal had a good run coming out of turn 4, heading up to the top of the hill, but wasn't able to make it stick. But as we've seen on occasions, coming out of this corner, down into 7, he pulls out, shows the wheel, and now with traffic, could possibly try and overtake a maneuver. This time he's gone. Yes, he's seen the traffic. He's not going to try and use that traffic. Watch Undal now. Try and open up the gap. He's dropped the hammer down big time now, and he's going to try and use those 2 back markers. Both Darren Andrews and, of course, Zante Otto. If he can get through on them and put them between himself and Boshoff, it could be a great maneuver here.
Yeah, with 4 laps remaining, Stephen Undal obviously thinks he's got the pace to maybe pull away. And like you said, use those back markers to his advantage. They're going to come on the back markers through the fast right-hander. They both go around the outside of Andrews, and they're going to have to get on the maybe on the inside of Zante Otto. Look at Boshoff around the outside. Oh,
it's helped him.
It definitely helped Undal.
Jeez, how did he hang on to that line though, Rob?
That was brave.
There is no grip out there whatsoever. Right, he didn't even lose ground.
No, he didn't. He's actually made up time on Undal. So at the top of the hill, boss, Undal's going defensive already. He's braking and turning that Yamaha RBZ in very tight, not allowing Boshoff any kind of maneuver on the inside. So this is where Undal is fast. He squares the right-hander and it flicks it flat out into the left-hander, but Boshoff right on his tail and on the brake. So with 3, we're going to come down now. There's 3 laps remaining. This is going to be 3 incredible laps from the 2 Yamaha men out front.
I couldn't believe that Boshoff was able to find grip out there on the outside of the circuit. Turn 4.
Otto must have thought, what the hell?
Otto and Andrews just had a change of underwear by the time of this race is going to be done. There's Boshoff on the inside, new leader into turn 2. Boshoff goes on the inside, sneaks up and gets through. And it's Undal coming straight back at him. So the battle is on. The gloves are off. We've got 2 to go. Oh man, we are in. No, we haven't. We've got a long way to go. 3 to go, sorry. 3 to go, yeah.
But the gloves are definitely off now. I don't think there's any tactics out there now. I think it's I want to lead, I want to win this race. Undal, he's got some good drive at the top of the hill now. He's in the slipstream, he's going to pull out, but Adolf Boshoff is so late on the brakes coming at the top of the hill. Yeah, he's not going to make the move there. Stephen Undal definitely has the pace, flicking it into the left where we saw Baker crash. Because Undal manages to, he's just got that little bit extra throttle. He holds it flat out, squares this right-hander where they're on now, and he flicks it left and he lines up a move on the inside. He's going to go again, but doesn't quite have it on the brakes this time out.
Okay, let's catch our breath as we come through. It's 14 laps completed, which means we've got 4 laps to go. Oh, 3 laps to go. Don't know how that works. Okay, maybe they've shortened it slightly according to the timing.
Maybe from the restart.
We've got 2. It's probably from the restart, 100% right there, Rob. Thanks very much. So with 2 to go, there's Undal. Oh! Can you get... this is not Throwback Thursday.
Is this Motards?
Whipping Wednesday. This is Superbike Sunday.
There's Motards going on at the go-kart track, not here.
Thanks very much, Rian Himmelin coming up there. He's just had some fun and games and getting ready to go. But man, have we got a battle here between these 2 Yamahas. Going into turn 4. Top quality stuff here from Boshoff and Undal. And Boshoff hanging on, the cowboy keeping Pooch out. Pooch looking for chances, but he hasn't found them just yet. He's gone to the front, but every time he's gone to the front, Boshoff's come back at him.
Yeah, at the top of the hill, Boshoff definitely has it on the brakes there. But Undal, his best bet is into the final turn. He's done it. He's dress rehearsal that a couple of times now, and this is really where he makes time. Boshoff runs a little bit hot into that right-hander, which doesn't allow him to get the pace here on the left, and Undal going again on the inside, but Boshoff late on the brakes. Here we go. Final lap time. My 21 Rand.
You're going to put that 21 Rand out there?
I'm not putting it down.
Okay.
I can't.
He can't. He's worried. I'm going to say 21 Rand is going to go to Rob if Boshoff wins. But if Undal comes through and he's able to get through early, I don't think Boshoff's going to be able to get back at him. Remember, at Red Star, Undal caught him napping on that last lap. And this is exactly what he's going to try and do now. But look at that. Look at the drive that Boshoff gets out of turn 2. They head through the big right-hand sweep onto that back straightaway. And Boshoff has got just a little bit of an edge. He's got half a bike length. Could that be enough? Under braking, Pooch comes right on him. Pooch is going to try and get him at the top of the hill. Watch this. Undal getting drive out of turn 4. Everything she's got out of that Yamaha. Those Pirellis are shouting and screaming.
Boshoff looks behind him and sees a face full of number 1.
Exactly.
An HJC helmet. So this is not where Undal's going to do it. He's going to line it up here. Now watch Boshoff go defensive into this right. Undal's going to keep a late apex. He's going to hug it right, and he's going to go flat out left and line up the move into the final turn. Here we go. Undal squares it up. He's on the inside, but I don't think he's got it on the brakes.
Oh,
he doesn't have
so
it.
close. So close, but Boshoff's going to hang on. And Boshoff is going to take the win. Cross the line on the back wheel, stand-up wheelie from Boshoff, and taking the victory there from Undal. Man alive. Top quality stuff there out of our top 2 riders
and
in this country.
Position. Here we go, 3rd position. Let's see. Dylan Barnard is still the man holding it at the moment, as we see Zante Otto and Darren Andrews coming across the line for their final lap. But here we go. It's Dylan Barnard. He's got a comfortable third in the end. Nicole van Asvierken is going to pick up fourth, and Byron Bester is going to pick up a decent fifth position. He pulls a little wheelie over the line, so clearly happy
he's
with
stoked
that.
Yeah, he's very stoked with that. Right, I'm going to head down to the podium now. Look out for some burnouts, I'm sure, somewhere on the track. A 1:03.20 and a 1:02.7, fastest lap out of Boshoff and out of Stephen Undal there.
Big hug there from Brandon Asses, and he's number one rider, Adolf Boshoff, who now takes a 5-point lead in the championship with that win over Stephen Undal. As Greg Maloney said, he is down there. He's going to catch up with our top three riders. Dylan Barnard, his first podium position of the year, and I think of his career. So great ride there from the Kawasaki man. Gets a hug from his dad. And we're going to have to wait and see if Blaze Baker can get his Suzuki fixed up and ready to battle for race number 2, because no doubt he would be a podium position contender. We're going to head down now to Greg Maloney with the top three.
Yeah, down at the podium, it's absolutely ram-packed here, and great to see such a good race being given the respect it's due, because, man, do we have a battle of note for first and second place between the two Yamahas. But the battle for third, fourth, and fifth was also impressive between some KMSA products there. One, of course, the ZX6, the racecraft machine of Dylan Barnard, and, of course, the two Triumphs just behind him. Nicole van Asvierken looking for another podium. And, of course, Byron Bester looking for his very first podium. But this time out, it's going to go to Dylan Barnard. And we're going to ask him to be the first man up on the podium. Let's get him up there. And let's hear it for the Racecraft team machine on the Kawasaki, Dylan Barnard. Second place, and only just, because, man, they chopped and changed all race long. But Pooch, it's going to be second for you this time for the Petra Racing Yamaha. And, of course, a man who was on the top step of the podium in the Moto2 Spanish Championship. Let's hear it for Stephen Undal. He was better today, and incredibly by the near-life Yamaha racing machine of the Cowboy, Adolf Boshoff, on top of the podium. Mr. Stephen Watson's going to hand out third place there to Dylan Barnard. And if he keeps that up, he's also going to be in contention for the Motel Award later on for Rider of the Day. Not a bad effort there. Second place, Raymond from Pirelli will hand that to Pooch. Those Pirelli tyres, I think, were screaming at the end of this race. There's no doubt about it. And looking at the way that they've gone through, it looks like a little bit of damage there too. And Mr. Dick Shuttle, our Commission President from Motorsport South Africa, hands out first place to Adolf Boshoff. There you go, ladies and gents, your first podium for the Super 600s. That's what it's all about. Man, are we in for a great day's racing, and this is the kind of racing we get right from the word go. Let's have a chat quickly to the riders. Dylan, come on down here, big guy. First podium, I bet you're stoked with that one, but I think you're going to be looking for more of the same if you can get the bike to work like you did today.
Oh, no, definitely. I'm a bit tired after that race, but podium is the best I can ask for. This weekend was difficult, practice was difficult, qualifying was good, and then race 1 was good as well. Third place, it's just amazing.
You're looking forward to race number 2 now, and possibly doing a double and maybe even getting one step higher.
Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
It's difficult to try and run with these two Yamahas. They really have got some good pace, but the battle for third was just as exciting because Nicole and Byron were giving you a good run for your money.
Yeah, no, it was difficult getting pressure from the back, but the front arc just disappearing. Couldn't get them, but pressure from the back was hard.
Looking forward to race 2 now?
Definitely.
We'll catch you later on. Hopefully we see you a little bit more of that. Second place, where did Pooch go? He's just snuck away there. Going to get him in here quickly. First and foremost, I think in terms of South Africa, as well as the entire world watching on live streaming, congratulations on your first place in the Moto2 Championship, but that's where you'd like to be here today as well.
Yeah, no, look, we tried a strategy. We went out with old tyres, so, you know, he had a new set of tyres, so let's see what happens in race 2. Pretty happy with the bike. I think we need to work a bit on some top-end speed, but, you know, let's check what happens. I'm really happy with the team, and thanks for all the supporters out here today. It's great to see a good crowd.
Full gas as always from your side of things, but with that strategy, it's definitely something that you're able to do a lot more than some of the other riders, and it probably shows them the reason why you've gone international. It gives you the chance to run slightly longer races and, of course, get used to older rubber.
Yeah, no, that's the main goal. This is just testing for us for overseas. I leave tonight, so, you know, just great testing, and let's see how the second race goes.
Phenomenal stuff. Thanks, Poochie. Good job. Let's get our first man up here. Whoa, he looks like he's a happy man, although his face doesn't say it. There's the smile we're looking for. A great effort there, fantastic stuff, but the chopping and changing on occasions was getting a bit sideways, and I think you were concerned at one point.
Yeah, for sure. Just a big shout out to the team and Assis Racing team for everything. Neo Life for giving me the power for what I'm doing. everyone, Portable Shade, just a big shout out, guys. And without you guys, this season wouldn't be happening for me. Thank you so much.
You got to go and do a little bit more work now and hopefully get this bike sorted out for race number 2. Do you think you got what it takes to take a double today?
Yeah, for sure.
Riders on the field. One I'm concerned most about is seeing whether or not Blaze Baker has made it out. Our cameraman is ready to welcome him to the pit, to his grid position. And I can see Doug Lang and Daryl and Uncle Andy there. Great effort, boys. Good job, and incredible how they can rebuild a motorcycle in the space of 2 hours. Here he comes. And looks like he's had to go next
Stephen
door.
Odendaal
He had to go next door to get a helmet from Stephen Odendaal. It's Odendaal's helmet.
That'll give him a little bit extra pace, maybe. Just don't go beat Stephen Odendaal, because he will not let you a helmet ever again.
Yeah, you won't be able to get that helmet back. He wins with that helmet stays with him, Stephen. So big up for this arch rivalry, but how cool is that to have a good mate to say, listen, here's a helmet for you, bro.
That's amazing. There are rivals down there on the track, but in the paddock, you'll see they're all friends at the end of the day, and there's a big respect from each rider in the category. Throughout all the categories here today, it really is great to see South African motorcycle racing getting so together. Just seeing Facebook during the week and the build up to this, seeing the amount of publicity that it got, it really is amazing. And it all spanned from Brad Binder's win and hearing that national anthem. So let's just kick on. Let's keep it going.
Exactly that. And Rob, just to bring it even closer to home, to get the acting mayor of Tshwane City here today was just a massive up and a coup for Gas Sports. So there you can see. Yes, it isn't Blaze Baker's normal flame job shoey, but it is the Soul AGR machine that is usually on the head of the man alongside him. But great arch rivalry and camaraderie amongst the riders too. So front of the grid is 2 Yamahas. One is Neolife Yamahas, Adolf the Cowboy Boshoff, and Pooch Odendaal alongside him. Blaze Baker on the Uncle Andy's Racing rebuilt Suzuki GSXR 600. Dylan Barnard, of course, is on the second row, and there he is in shot. And also a man up for the Motul Rider of the Day if he keeps up the kind of performance he got out of race number 1.
Next up is Jesse Boshoff, a great ride there, second on the second row of the grid. Really amazing. First time out on that bike that he's just bought, literally bolted everything together. You won't believe it, that bike's still got its hooter on and working. So if you hear a hooter coming down the front straight, it is Jesse Boshoff.
I think you should push the hooter for us
on
quickly.
The back wheel, I think you should hit the hooter, yeah.
Yeah, I think you should push the hooter at one stage on that ring. Then we're going to go to the next row.
Guys.
In front of the next row, of course, is Byron Bester. He is on the High-Tech Elements machine, and of course that's a Triumph 675 Daytona R from 4Ways Motorcycles. Alan John Fenter just giving him a few little hints and advice on what to do to get the best out of that bike. Thumbs up from B. He'll be happy with that. And of course he's also leaving very shortly to go back into Europe to do the next round of Donington for the EJC. Kieran Snyman, what an incredible ride from this youngster. He really is getting to grips with 600cc, considering this is only one of his first outings on a 600. Look out for this man in the future of the sport. He really has got an exceptional talent.
Yeah, and up next is Cape Town, his local track. And you said you saw him racing down there a couple of weeks ago, and exceptionally fast. One of our leading RC390 and 250 Cup riders of years gone past. So really is a great effort there. Dean Nelson on his Triumph just behind them. And then another Cape Town man, Alex van der Berg there. He had a great race in race number 1. Got up, I think, into about 6th position at one stage.
After nearly being decapitated by Suzuki.
Yeah, by Suzuki.
So well done, Al. Keep it up, buddy. Alex van der Berg, there he is. And check that out. There's a Van Bro alongside him there as well.
No, you know, it spoils Joburg. Every time Aaron van Niekerk comes up to Joburg, Joburg's just that little bit worse.
Yeah, we love Aaron van Niekerk. He's going to be loving life down in Cape Town.
Putting so much back into the sport, so it's great to see.
Johnny Ray. Well, there's a Johnny Ray replica out there. There he is. He's also from Cape Town, ASAP Racing, and of course from the Mike Hopkins Motorcycle Series down there. Good to see Big Carl Schultz involved in the 600cc racing, and he'll be loving life. He's just seen his youngster go really well, and we look forward to seeing more of that. Moving to our final 2 positions on the grid. One will be Zante Otto. There she is, one of our top lady riders, and certainly getting more than her money's worth out of this 600cc. She really is going well. And final man on the grid, as our camera goes across, you can see him just in the background there. That'll be Mr. Darren Andrews.
Yeah, stepping up from the 250 Cup onto the 600. His first race on the 600, doing a great job. He had a big battle with Zante Otto in race number 1 and improving his lap times every time he goes out. So on the Honda CBR 600 machine, sponsored by Monroe Racing, who's got a gaggle of riders here this weekend once again.
Yeah.
So great support there from them. As the whistle goes, that means everybody please off the grid, and we are going to be under starters order. Paddy Fensky will give them the 1 lap warm-up sign, and then we'll line up and we'll go under racing orders for race number 2 action. If it's anything like race number 1, we are in for one hell of a treat.
Thanks, Demi from Teasers, for the hot brolly babe for young Nicole van Arsweken as well. Alrighty, so it is now.
Blaze Baker's got problems.
Little adjustment here for Blaze Baker. He's going to have to shoot into pit lane quickly. You can see him just following Daryl through. I wonder what that issue is. Maybe just a slight adjustment. Means he's going to probably have to start from pit lane. I know that Durkee's running down there our mobile camera, so we can maybe cross to him as soon as we've got a shot of that. But until then, we are now ready to rock and roll for race number 2. But it's going to be a pit lane start there for the Suzuki.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be a pit lane start, so I wonder what that problem is. We have put a cameraman down there, so we'll cut across there so we can see what's going on. But they are under the warm-up lap orders. Stephen Oendal gets that launch, just a practice start there. Nicole van Asveken's done a great job so far this year. She really used to battle with her starts, but so far this year has been in the top 5 on the opening lap every race we've gone to. So she's done an incredible job.
You know why.
I know why.
You know how good that bike is off the line. That Triumph is incredible off the line. And as much as the Suzuki and the Yamaha are very good too, you got half the weight of any rider out there on board that Triumph, and of course its ability to get off the line is very good.
She's been doing a lot of off-road riding with the family as well, and with Damien Purificati, the man in her life. So she really has improved this year and running in the top 5 consistently now and looking for a top 3 in the championship come the end of the season. So that'll be a great effort from the lady rider on that Triumph. So watch out for her. But Byron Bester, he's on the Triumph for this weekend as well, sponsored by 4Ways Motorcycles, giving him that bike while his Kawasaki is being repaired.
Have a look at the geography of that grid. 1 and 2 are probably your 2 best starters in the country at the moment. Right behind them in 4th place is Nicole, and right behind Nicole is Byron. So the right-hand side of the grid is going to be absolutely electric to watch for.
Turn 1 is always exciting here at Zwartkops. I've had many a great memory going into turn 1 here on a race day. It really is awesome because you line yourself up for turn number 2. So Adolf Boshoff, he got a tremendous start. The first part of the race, he didn't get the start. Pooch got the start. In the second part, after the restart, after the Baker incident, Adolf Boshoff launched that Neolife Yamaha like you cannot believe. So he'll be looking to do that again, but it's definitely up to Stephen Oendal to get one over Boshoff. He does not want him to get 10 points heading into Cape Town.
Well, we've nicknamed him the Pocket Rocket for a long, long time due to the fact that his ability off the line has been unmatched, but he has been very closely matched over the last couple of races by Adolf Boshoff. So here we go. Watch for the right-hand side of that grid. Right-hand side of that grid is where the things are going to really be lit up. Lights about to go on as they go off. Oh, it's Pooch! Pooch with a start of note, blasts up the inside and gets the whole shot down into turn 1 on his tail. Boshoff and Nicole van Arsweken into 3rd. Who's 4th? If it's Byron Bester, you're going to give me that 21 Rand.
I will never give you my 21 Rand, but it is Stephen Oendal out front. Boshoff follows him through. Nicole van Arsweken up into 3rd position, but it's got Dylan Ballard right on her tail. And Byron Bester didn't get the greatest launch, but it looks like he has fought his way through turn 1 and turn 2 there. But it's Pooch out front and Adolf Boshoff right on his tail. And Nicole van Arsweken, what can we say? And a good start there for Jesse Boshoff. Kieran Snyman trying to go on the inside of turn number 4, doesn't make it stick. And Dylan Barnard now launching a challenge on Nicole van Arsweken for that 3rd position.
Yeah, 3rd place is certainly heating up at 1 and 2, also extremely good. Take into account that the race 1, Stephen Oendal was on old rubber. So he's on brand new rubber now. It'll take about probably a lap and a half to get it up to optimum race temperature. And if he can get up to optimum race temperature, he has a possibility of using that strategy to his advantage and getting away from the Cowboy. Here comes Barnard for 3rd place, up into the final turn. Barnard on the inside. Oh, Nicole van Arsweken has to sit it up. She loses a little bit of ground and right into the clutches of Jesse Boshoff and Kieran Snyman. Byron Bester behind them. And Blaze Baker out of pit lane is now last on track, but not too far off the back end of Zante Otto and Darren Andrews.
Yeah, Blaze Baker really can make his way through. He's got the pace to run with the top 3, so he's got a lot of work to do to get through the field, but if anyone can, it is him. And look at that, Adolf Boshoff on the slightly used tires. He knows he's got to get out front, but Oendal gets the drive and sticks it on the inside of turn number 4 and makes the move, but Boshoff gets off the brakes and onto the gas. He knows he's got to get Stephen Oendal. On the new tyres, Oendal is a big threat. So Boshoff's going to try and disrupt his race at the top of the hill, on the brakes, on the inside. Oh, sticks a knee into the fairing of Stephen Oendal.
Yeah, Rubbing's racing. That's what it's all about up at turn number 5. And I think Oendal might have got shaken ever so slightly by that. I don't think he expected from the Cowboy. But if you're riding with Adolf Bossov, you need to expect that all the time. He has calmed his style down ever so slightly. He was very, very erratic initially in his first opening bits of races. And wow!
As you
onto
say
the rumble
that.
strips. Commentator's curse for Bossov. He's gone back to the old cowboy style.
That was incredible, using all the track and more. You could see him using his body weight to really steer the bike off the curb. That's allowed Steven Oudendal though to close that gap now. And Oudendal, with that fresh new set of Pirelli rubber, will get the drive onto the back straight and look to make the move up in turn number 4 again. And here we go. Look at Oudendal. He's able, you could see the new rubber, it's just sticking that little bit better. But on the brakes, Adolf Bossov, he just gets that bike on the brakes, he clamps that front brake, that poor front end dives on that Neolife Yamaha, and it still holds the grip. So the front tire of Adolf Bossov bike should get Motor Rider of the Day.
Yeah. There's not an option there. That's quite a very definite option. We could look around, but here we go. Oudendal trying to use that new rubber to sneak on the inside. You know what he's doing here? He's just forcing Bossov to ride the tires off that machine, because if he does, he's going to lose ground and he can just go ahead and disappear at the front end. So the pressure being applied here from the second place rider Steven Oudendal is exactly part of his strategy. He's making Bossov work harder than what he needs to here in the opening stages, because that's going to ruin those tires and give the possibility of the victory to Oudendal. Here he comes on the inside for turn 2. And backs it in, never mind, overtakes. Backs it in, forces the cowboy wide.
Yeah, Oudendal up into first now. With the new tires, he wants to put in. If he can put in some low 1 minute 2 lap times with a fresh rubber, which we know he can, in qualifying he did it, he will pull away from Bossov. Bossov is running in the low 3s, but I don't think he's got the pace to run 2s. So watch Oudendal now. He's going to put his head down. It is up to Bossov to try and interrupt the race. And already, look at Oudendal. He's got 2 or 3 bike lengths as they head up the hill.
Looks like Kieran Snyman had a problem with one of the turns. Not quite sure which turn it went down on. But Kieran Snyman, the man from Cape Town on 19 Kawasaki, is down.
Says rider, okay.
And it looks like there's a possibility Byron Bester might have been involved in that, because look where Bester dropped to.
Way down.
Dropped right out of it. So Byron Bester, I think, was involved in that little incident. 126-1, definitely an incident there. Kieran Snyman probably made him have to take evasive action. And Bester now having to work right from the back of the field there on the high-tech elements Triumph from Four Ways Motorcycles.
You can see Steven Oudendal straight into the 102.8, and Adolf Bossov a 3.3, so losing out a little bit of ground on Oudendal, but he's closed it up going into turn number 2 now already. So Bossov knows he's got to do everything he can to disrupt the race of the Pooch, because Pooch on the new tires is going to try and check out of this race, and he's got that little bit extra grip coming on the back straight that really is where he pulls the gap. But Bossov into the final stage, and look on the brakes. Bossov just closes that gap big time. But Oudendal made a big mistake, and that's allowed Bossov right onto his tail. Oudendal looked like he missed a gear or something going up the hill, and that's allowed Bossov now to maybe make the move going at the top of the hill.
He'll have a look, but look at this. Looks like Nicole Van Arsvik and also closing down on Barnard. So Dylan Barnard trying to get that Motor Rider of the Day and get a second podium. If he gets a second podium, I don't think anybody's going to be in contention for the Motor Rider of the Day other than Dylan. Nicole Van Arsvik is going to try and spoil that for him. And Blaze Baker, he's already up in a 6th place. Can you believe the action coming out of the Uncle Andy Suzuki rider? Onto the tailpiece now of Jesse Bossov as our 2 leaders cross the line in front of us. Here comes the 3rd and 4th place battle. Barnard hanging on. A 104.2 out of him on the last time of asking, and a 104.5 coming out of Van Arsvik. That's the battle we watch as they go through turn 1. Baker not too far back. He's got ahead of Kian Nelson on the 2nd Triumph on track. And now down onto the braking markers. Look at this. Oh, Nicole Van Arsvik extremely late on the brakes on the Triumph. Closing in on Dylan Barnard, but Barnard has matched her almost all race long.
I'm trying to see where Byron Best is. Here he comes onto the straight now. So definitely had an incident somewhere, because he is nowhere near where he needs to be. But he's just done his best lap time of the race, a 104.4. So man on the charge, but he'll be good if he can get into that top 7 position. Maybe an SQ on Snyman, so he's got back on track as well. So like you said, definitely an incident between those 2 riders. And out front, it is heating up, because Steven Oudendal is right on the tail of Adolf Bossov. And this is where Oudendal has got the much better pace, using the grip, extra grip that he's got. But Bossov on the brakes closes the line and will lead yet another lap coming across the line.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing now is Steven Oudendal realizing that the pressure is being applied. He's watching those tires deteriorate. And if that's the case, he's going to have a little bit of extra rubber to his advantage later on. Backs it into turn 2 again. He's really got that dial, forces Bossov wide, makes him take a slightly different line than what he'd like, and that's where he loses ground. So Bossov can't sit the bike up too early on. He's got to try and keep it banked over to make the turn first of all, and when he does get through, he's now going to try and make up 2 bike lengths.
It looks like the edge grip, Adolf Bossov just doesn't have that initial edge grip that Steven Oudendal's got with a new tire. So as Oudendal cranks the bike over and gets on the gas, he's got the grip. where Bossov's bike is definitely losing that little edge grip, forcing him to stand the bike up a lot more than he wants to. They go to the top of the hill and Bossov hard on the brakes. Steven Oendal closed that line, went really defensive there, not allowing Bossov through. He knows if he can just get 2 clean laps out front, he will pull away from Bossov. But Bossov doing a tremendous job to really disrupt the race of Steven Oendal. They're going to come down to the line. There will be 11 laps remaining as they cross the line now. So still a lot of laps left to do. Bossov's really got so much work still to do to try and tag on the back of Oendal, who clearly has I think he's got a faster pace in this race with those new tyres. But Bossov, if there's anyone who can stick it out and stick his neck out, it's Adolf Bossov.
Yeah, the difference you're going to see there between sticking your neck out and being able to ride on older rubber is the difference in the two rider styles. The neck out style, of course, comes from the Cowboy in second, and the ability to ride on older rubber comes from the experience that Steven Oendal's had internationally, where he's got the slightly longer races where the tyres do deteriorate and you still have to ride to get to the finish line. So Oendal will be looking to use that experience here today to beat Bossov, and that's exactly what seems to be happening at the front end. Second place is pretty much one of these Yamahas, but third place looks like Barnard's pulled a slight gap over Nicole van Arsveken as they pass us in the background. Looking at the screen though, the battle is between these two Yamahas. It's the incredible ride here coming out of the number 1 plate Petra Racing Yamaha of Steven Pooch Oendal and the Cowboy. Adolf Bossov, oh, you can see there's the tyres starting to go. The tyres are starting to get a little bit squirrely, and Bossov is going to have to be very careful that he doesn't go too hard and throw it down the road.
Look at Blaise Baker in 6th position, a 3.7, so he's literally only running half a second off the leaders. So he's on a serious charge now. He's got Jesse Bossov, who also put in his personal best of a 4.5 the last lap, so he's closing down on him for a top 6 position. So Blaise Baker, if he keeps this up, we could see him on a podium position from the back of the grid, a la Brad Binder, his best mate, who did it out in Jerez. So really inspired at the moment is Blaise Baker on that Suzuki. And when a rider like Blaise Baker is in determined mood, as he is, really is hard to keep him back. So watch out for Blaise Baker on the anchor, and there he is on the back straight. He's on the brakes now. He's already caught onto the back wheel of Jesse Bossov coming up the hill. Here we go on screen now, and look at Blaise Baker. He's on Jesse Bossov's tail, and he's got that 3rd position just ahead of him.
So as they head up to the top of the hill, there we go. Blaise Baker looking for an opportunity to sneak through. Has he made it stick? There's a very good possibility that Baker's got through. He might have just snuck ahead of Jesse Bossov. They've just gone under our shot there and going around double right-hander. Heading into the bottom and down the hill now. Heading to the down the hill section. Here they come. Has Baker got through? Yes, he has.
Yes.
Baker's through. And confirmation there. He's moved up into the top 5 from a pit lane start.
There we go. He's about 2 seconds behind Nicole van Arsveken and Dylan Barnard. So let's see what Blaise Baker's got. If anyone can do it, it is Blaise Baker. And he looks like he's got that Suzuki dialed in. So what a great effort from the team to fix that bike. He then got pulled off the grid, had to fix the bike, start from pit lane in 13th position on the first lap. And he's going for a podium position. So really another contender for Motul Rider of the Day has to go to Blaise Baker.
Now listen, he is sponsored by Motul, so we'll have to be very careful on that one. But I can tell you something, the ride he's had, well, I would say we have the ride of the day, maybe not the rider of the day.
No, well put,
but I think certainly an incredible effort from the Uncle Andy's racing team, particularly from Daryl and Doug Lang. They've done an incredible job to get that bike rebuilt in the space of a couple of hours. And I know that Alan would have probably jumped in to help him out. A 1:02.8 coming out of Adolf Bossov at the front end as Baker now starts to close in on Barnard and Van Arsveken.
Zante Otto in 11th place just put in her best time of the race, a 107.1, so improving all the time on that 600 as we look at the leaders now. Bossov a little bit wide into turn 2. That's allowed Oendal a couple of bike lengths lead now, heading onto the back straight. So Bossov really is trying everything to stay with Steven Oendal, who looks like he's got the slightly more pace. Bossov's having to really ride out of his skin to stay with the number 1 plate out front.
Yeah, I'm loving the fact that when Bossov puts in a 1:02.8, it's immediately matched by Steven Oendal. And now Oendal has to try and see whether Bossov can match his pace as he gets a little bit quicker. Very nice and smooth from Oendal. It's incredible smooth riding style coming out of the man with the number 1 plate. But third in the championship last year, Adolf Bossov, certainly no slouch when it comes to riding this little R6 of his. Heading down towards the final turn now, and you can see just how hard the ability of Steven Oendal to back that bike in with new rubber is just absolutely amazing to watch. Oh, little bit of a head wobble there as he came off the rumble strip. But as you know, what's the rule there? Keep it buried. That's exactly what he did. And rode out of a possible bit of trouble.
You have to pin it to win it, and that's exactly what Steven Oendal is trying to do. Oh, Bossov nearly clips the back end of Steven Oudendal, who looked to square the turn off, and Boshoff right on the tail of him, and that made Steven Oudendal sit up. But both riders making it through now, but you can see Boshoff losing out a little bit there now. So he's got all that work to do again. But this is the section where Boshoff seems to close on Oudendal. They come through turn 4. They're going to go to the top of the hill at turn 5. And Boshoff is really late on the brakes there. It's the first section of the track where Oudendal seems to have the upper hand on Boshoff. But here at the top of the hill on the brakes, you can see, Adolf Boshoff has that Neo-Life Yamaha squirming under the brakes.
Now we're coming into the last third of this race. We've got 2/3 done, 1/3 still to be completed. There'll be 6 laps to go for our leaders as they come across the line. It's an 18-lap race. It's a long time in the saddle for a lot of these riders. They're not used to the distance. Some of them have been involved in the SuperGP Championship Trophy, and they know that they've got to have the ability to ride a slightly longer race than the 8 or 10 lap sprints that they used to do in the past.
Boshoff with a big moment in turn 1.
Moment into turn 1 there. He also got caught napping, I think, on one of the back markers coming up on the back end there of Andrews. Darren Andrews just trying to stay out of the way and avoid going into the back of the leader. That is the race done right there. Boshoff's mistake, his inability to get past the back marker in time, has now given Steven Oudendal enough breathing room to get him probably through these 6 laps unhindered.
And that's the edge grip I was talking about. As Boshoff flicked it in on the limiter into turn 1, he just lost that edge grip, had to roll off the gas, and that high-sided him a bit. He did really well to actually stay on that bike. And then Oudendal actually had Darren Andrews to deal with, stuck it on the inside, and Andrews wasn't really aware that he was coming and almost hit into the back of our race leader. So well done to Darren Andrews for missing out on that, because Oudendal really was out of shape. But like you said, Adolf Boshoff now has lost the toe of Steven Oudendal, who is now out front and setting the lap times. He's 3 dead last time out from Oudendal, but this is not going to be a fast lap at all from Adolf Boshoff, who has now lost a toe and might have to settle for second place. Another result we've seen the whole season, and going into the next round, tie on points yet again.
So there's Darren Andrews, and of course now into the back markers as well. A little bit more back markers having to deal with. I think that was Carl Schultz that he went flying past. And 3rd, 4th and 5th place coming down towards turn 2.
They go into the back straight, and that 3rd place battle is heating up. Dylan Barnard, Nicole van Asverken, and look at Blaise Baker on the Suzuki. He is right there. Dylan Barnard already got a podium finish today. He knows what it takes. Nicole van Asverken, I saw her earlier in between the break, and she wants that 3rd position. There's nothing more she wants than that, to pick up that 3rd position on that triumph. So let's see what she can do. But Blaise Baker on the Suzuki, he's coming thick and fast.
Let me tell you something. I think there might be a Suzuki on the podium the way that Baker's going.
For sure.
Baker's last lap was a 104 dead. 104.1 out of Van Asverken, 104.2 out of Barnard. Fastest man in this pack is the Uncle Andy's Racing Suzuki. So heads up on the ability of Baker out of pit lane to possibly get onto the podium. That'll be the same kind of likes and means of 35th to 1st from Binder.
Yeah, not too far off, and they are really good friends. I know that. So Blaise Baker getting inspiration from his good friend Brad Binder, who won last time out at Jerez in the Moto 3. So let's see what he can do. They come onto the front straight for 4 laps remaining. But one thing I can say, Nicole van Asverken is not the easiest rider to pass. But Blaise Baker lining up and going into turn 2. He's going on the brakes on the inside. He's going to make
Baker's
that stick.
through.
So next up, it's Dylan Barnard on the black ZX6. Can Blaise Baker do it?
No, he's got enough time. There are 4 laps to go for these riders, and his last lap was a 104 dead again. So consistent 104 deads. He's been into the 103s as well. So we know he's got the pace to run a similar kind of pace at the front of this race, and he's now fighting for a possible podium position. He's only got one more bike to catch, and it'll be Dylan Barnard that he's got to get past to do that. Nicole van Asverken is trying to stay with him. That's not a bad plan there from Van Asverken. Stay with Baker, possibly see something go wrong there and get a little bit higher up and beat Dylan Barnard, the rival she had from race 1.
Barnard a little bit wide at the top of the hill in turn 5, so lost a little bit of time to Blaise Baker there, who's now coming through the left-hander where he had that big crash. So his confidence will be hurt there. But look at this now, right on the back end of Dylan Barnard coming into the final stage of the race. We will have 3 laps remaining. Dylan Barnard using everything he has. He said he was really tired after race number 1. Well, you've got a lot of work still to do, because you've got a very fast Suzuki coming right on your tail. Out front though, Steven Oudendal is now dominating this race. He's pulled over a 1.5 seconds on Adolf Boshoff in 2nd position.
As they come through there, you can see incredible stuff. That is the Munro Honda, of course, of Andrews, one of the back markers involved in that little battle for a while. But in the background, here they come. Look at this. Oh, heads up, because Dylan Barnard, you're in big trouble. Baker is coming along for the ride. He wants that podium position. He wasn't on it in the first
Barnard
race.
out of the seat, high-sided out of the seat, begging for the throttle on that Kawasaki. That's allowed Blaze Baker to close right up at the top of the hill. And look who's coming with him. Nicole van Aspergen is right on their tail. After this, we'll have 2 laps remaining. So as they come across the line, Blaze Baker's running out of time, but I don't know. I really don't know. Dylan Barnard, besides that mistake, is still doing a good job at holding it off, but Blaze Baker is now right on his tail. We'll have to wait and see where Baker can make that move, because Barnard's got a very fast Kawasaki ZX6 underneath him. Stephen Windal now down the back straight. He's pulled the pin. And Adolf Boshoff, unfortunately, is going to have to settle for second position here. So another race win and a second position, as we've seen for the whole year. Oh, Blaze Baker making a mistake coming out of turn 2. Trying to go, oh, that's a big mistake. I don't know if he hooked the wrong gear or something, but he has made a big mistake, and he's now lost the toe on Dylan Barnard.
And there's a lap and a half to go. Barnard can hang on and possibly survive this. Baker goes into turn 4. He's about 10 bike lengths back from the Kawasaki ahead of him. That's not where he needs to be with a lap and 4 corners to go. Heading up to the top of the hill, Nicole van Aspergen also realizes she could possibly get that position back. Leader has started his final lap. On his tail is Adolf Boshoff, but it's a 3.5 second gap between them. Baker now has to make up this ground. Can he make it up in 1 corner and 1 lap? We've seen how good he is. Has he got enough there? Is the rubber going to be able to keep him going? He's now got that 1 quarter to do. There he comes. And it's going to be 1 lap across the line. So the battle for third place and the final podium step is set seriously on here. I've got to say, ride of the day is still going to go to Blaze Baker, but rider of the day, in terms of the motor award, is still going to go to Dylan Barnard for my liking.
100%, you're absolutely right. Let's see what Blaze Baker's got now. He's closed the gap now, but I don't know if he's got enough to close down on Dylan Barnard. What a race from Dylan Barnard. He's been under massive pressure from first Van Aspergen and now from Blaze Baker. So let's see if Dylan Barnard can pull this off and pick up yet another podium position. We go to the top of the hill where Stephen Oudendal is coming through now. He's going to pick up the first race win of the day. He got 20 points in race number 1, and he's going to get 25 points in race number 2. He's going to go level on points now with Adolf Boshoff in the championship. Boshoff will come across the line now in second position. He did everything he could, but let's go back now to the battle for third position between that man Dylan Barnard and Blaze Baker. I think Barnard has done enough to come to the line and pick up yet another podium finish as our lady rider Zante Otto. She comes across the line.
Dylan Barnard's going to hang on, Rob.
He is.
Across the line, Barnard beats up Baker. Baker throwing his helmet on the floor. It's not his helmet, so don't throw it on the floor. But he'll be very, very disappointed not getting onto the podium. An incredible ride there out of Blaze Baker, but unfortunately just missing out by how much? 0.3 of a second there between Baker and Barnard across the line. Once again, incredible riding coming out of these 600cc riders. The Super 600s, as we call them, the Brat Pack, as their nickname is, and some big wheelies expected now. Look out for some celebrations coming out of Pooch, coming out of Adolf Boshoff, and I'll head down to podium to see exactly what went down in this race number 2 for Super 600s. Ladies and gentlemen, make a lot of noise here for a young man that is slowly but surely becoming a threat in this championship. And third place today for Racecraft Racing, Dylan Barnard. A change around for the top 2 positions, and even though he pushed hard, it's unfortunately the Neolife Yamaha that finishes up in second place this time. Let's hear it for the cowboy, Adolf Boshoff. That's incredible stuff there from Dylan Barnard. He's able to pop the cork on a champagne bottle without even thinking about it. Use the force there. Using the force the most today, though. Congratulations once again to the Petra Racing Yamaha rider, and of course a great effort there from Pooch. Let's hear it for Stephen Oudendal, top of the podium. Raymond's going to hand out from Peretti to third place, Dylan Barnard. The third place trophy there goes to an incredible ride from the Racecraft team. Mr. Dick Shuttle, the chairman of the Motorcycle Commission for Motorsport South Africa, will hand out second place. That goes to the cowboy, Adolf Boshoff. And our acting mayor for the city of Tshwane, MMC Makeke, will hand out first place to Stephen Oudendal. Remember, guys, stay on the podium, please, for the champagne. And there you go, champagne celebration time. Great job, guys, great job. I believe if you want to get a helmet, you need to go and see Stephen Udendahl. So he's handing out a couple of them. So if anybody hasn't got a helmet today, he's got a couple of spare ones. Let's have a quick chat to these top three. Come on down, Dol. Stand here for us when we get the background. Great job, buddy. And once again, that's a really good cementing to the championship so far. It's been up and down. You've slowly but surely got to the front end. Now that you're there, what are you going to do to try and stay there, bud?
Well, I'm going to try my best to keep the pace and stop Aachen to be on the podium, but Blaze was close. He was almost there. I'm sure if there was a few laps, he would have had a lekker few extra laps.
You did have a good one initially there with Nicole as well, so there's concerns for you, I'm sure, to up the pace ever so slightly to try and get up to the two Yamahas. It's exactly what Blaze has had to do, and I'm sure that you've got the ability to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I will try to do my best. Just need to work on the starts, and sure I can try to stick with them.
Awesome stuff. We'll sketch you a little bit later on. All right, let's move on to second place there. Cowboy, not quite according to plan there, but I'm sure that you're happy with another podium position because you have now been sort of the most consistent man up on the podium, so that's always good to do, always good to see. But heading down to Cape Town, it's a whole nother ball game now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the second race didn't go as planned. I was behind him, and going into the first corner, I had a huge high side. I don't know how I saved that, and then back markers also held me up. And yeah, just a big shout out to Neo Life and Portable Shade and Anasys Racing, and yeah, Cape Town is going to be good. It's fast flowing, so let's see what it brings.
You might have a new sponsor with Bear Underwear, I think, after that high side, but congratulations there, Cowboy. Good job. Pooch, in you come, big guy. Another great effort, and of course chopping and changing as we've seen all season long. It's between the two of you. It's really a two-horse race here, but it's never done until that fat lady's ready to sing, eh?
Yeah, I know. Well, missing 2 events is going to be really difficult, but you know, as I said before, our game isn't to win this championship, just use it for testing. And you know what, I'm so glad Adolf's here. He's really kept me on my toes and he's riding excellent. I just want to say well done to him. You know, he's really come up through the ranks, and you know, just had a great race and love the #1 spot.
You certainly do. You're doing a great job of it, and we wish you all the very best because you head off tonight, I believe, for next round of the Moto2 in Spain.
No, it'll just be a test. I got a 1-day test, so in and out, but I look forward to seeing you guys at the next round, so full gas.
The SuperGP Champions Trophy is proudly brought to you by Diode and their associate sponsors.